Okay, we go first against Giant Death Dinosaur. Okay, starting hand's not too bad. So, funnily enough, the dinosaur, when it flips, becomes Blightsteel Colossus, which is a distant cousin of Skithiryx here. Yeah, we go for the Bajuka Bog first, and next turn Mind Stone. And, yeah, not too bothered about Thought Seizing just yet. I mean, they are going to ramp, but can they beat the power of a Skithiryx? And the Rune Chanter's Pike is a nice addition as well. Have any modern players out there? Old school modern players? This used to be used on... What did it used to be? I think it was on either Snapcaster Mage or... I'm not sure. A few other things. Okay, let's go for Shieldred. That'll be good to start draining them a bit. This card is just absolutely wacky. I was checking the price of this card the other day, and I think it's reached $70, which is just silly. Skithiryx has deployed to the field, and they currently only have green mana, which is intriguing. Are we going to be able to do the Brass Knuckles and the Rune Chanter's Pike? That's going to be pretty cool, if we can. Well, the Lotus Cobra is getting them into red mana. Harmonise. They lose 6. Blimey. Makes me wish that Skithiryx was going to deal regular damage now. So I think, actually, we go for Dread Presence and we have them in a really tight spot. Because if we kill the Cobra, they're not going to be able to generate any red mana here. And then what else can we do? I guess Thoughtseize as well. Absolute punishment time here. 4 mana, 5 mana. We'll go for the Beast Whisperer. Stop them drawing. Absolutely brutalization. They can't cast the red spells in their hands. The Momentous Fall lets them draw equal to something's power, which is 1. And yeah, it's just... I think we've got them here, guys. Oh, they got the red mana though. Fable. Wow, that's just going to kill them, right? If they trigger that in the next turn by drawing 2, they're just going to die pretty swiftly. Murderous Rider. Okay, let's try the Brass Knuckles here. Okay, so we've got enough to equip. First Brass Knuckle. Second Brass Knuckle. Double Strike over the top. Oh my goodness. Hello, welcome to a brand new video. Today we will be looking at Skithiryx the Blight Dragon, which is a reprint from the original New Phyrexia set. And it's kind of crazy that this actually went underneath the radar, I think, because there's so many cards printed these days that, you know, they're just going to be missed. This wasn't in the March of the Machines standard set, but it's in the Multiverse Legends set, which is within that set, as confusing as that sounds. So I think it's something like 60 Legends altogether that they reprinted. So yeah, there's just so many to go through these days, but I thought let's try and make this. Not seeing many people talk about it, but it's so powerful because you can pretty much one-shot your opponents if you give it the right equipment. So it's a Voltron deck, which means it wants to have loads of swords, basically, and equipment to pump him to deal that 10 infect damage. Just be wary that the original infect, when this hits a player, they don't deal regular damage, they just deal infect damage instead. So keep that in mind, that if you do have any things in the deck that deal regular damage, you'll be trying to kill them in 2 different ways. So it's a bit tricky, but unavoidable at the same time. I think one of the coolest things you can do with Skithiryx is give it the Brass Knuckles, which means as long as there's 2 equipment on Skithiryx, it's going to have double strike. So if it's got 2 Brass Knuckles on it, then it'll deal 8 damage. That's almost dead. And then if you give it something like a sword, which gives it +2/+2, then that'll be 10 damage. Shadow Spear can also help, because this is going to give it 5 power. Double strike is 10 infect, win the game. And you've also got the Black Blade Reforged, which can just simply give it +6 out of nowhere, because it gets +1 for each land you control, and it's likely that you'll have this by turn 5 or 6 anyway. And yeah, it's quite a mean deck, but it's a mean format, to be honest. I think you will enjoy this if you remember him from the old days. It is very nostalgic to see this guy, and it is also fairly confusing as to what they reprinted and what they didn't, because it just seems kind of all over the place, to be honest, so it's difficult to keep track these days. There are some unique cards to the deck that you won't find in paper. So Packed Weapon, as long as it's attached to a creature, you don't lose a game for having 0 less life, which is cool. Whenever equipped creature attacks, draw a card, reveal it, it gets +X/+X until end of turn, and you lose X life where X is that card's mana value. So it's basically Dark Confidant attached to this, equipped to discard a card. Now, somewhat ironically, we don't actually have any 6-drops in the deck, which means you can never actually one-shot someone with this, but I just wanted to keep the curve low. Odds are that if you can equip this anyway, you might have some other equipment or boosts in order to do that. And another little pet card in the deck is Grim Hireling. I really like this because whenever one or more creatures you control hits, create 2 treasure tokens, which is, oddly enough, perfectly suitable for regenerating Skithiryx or giving him haste. So it really helps us get that little boost of mana, which black doesn't really have too much of in this format. If you go to Commander, there's loads of crazy fast mana, but here we've got Dark Ritual. Essentially, that's going to do most of the legwork here. So yeah, join me in this very powerful deck, and I hope you enjoy the video. Deck list is below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and donate. All the usual stuff. Let's get into the video. Going us first with the Traxxer. Our starting hand is kind of slow, to be honest. Let's mulligan this. This is okay. We've got the Swiftfoot Boots, which is nice to protect our asset as he delivers the payload. Do we just Pachuca Bog here? I think, yeah, we want to do that early because we also want to get it out before the Nighthawk Scavenger, because otherwise it will weaken the Scavenger's power when the stuff goes into the graveyard. And then, yeah, we've got some really good threats coming out here. Probably go for the Nighthawk Scavenger first. Depending on what they do. They might just kill the boots. They just highlighted it there. Okay, they're just going to kill the boots. They're scared of the haste coming in, which is fair enough. So Scavenger's going to be a little bit bigger now because they've got a card in the graveyard. So the reason Scavenger's in here, because he's a really good host for equipment, which is exactly what we want to see. So yeah, let's go for the... We can do both, can't we? Yeah, we can go for Mind Stone and we can go for the Gix here. So they're the 4-mana Traxxer, so slightly more manageable. And this works super well because the life gain means we don't have to worry too much about the drain that we get from the Gix. It's a fairy. Oh, okay. I wonder what they're going to do. Wow, they've just sacrificed him to slow us down a bit. Okay. That is fair enough. Interesting, though. So whenever this... I think we're just going to invoke Despair here. This is a really, really aggressive play, but we want to just keep hitting them. And I think, you know, Mono Black is probably my forte, to be honest. I don't really know why. I used to think it was Grixis, but my god. I think because the matchups I get with Mono Black are better, to be honest. But yeah, Mono Black is so good. So goddamn good. They're under 10 already. Wrath of God takes out our guys. I mean, we could just straight up... The issue is Skithiryx doesn't deal damage, so... I mean, we can still try, can't we? We can still try, and if they counter it, we can bring it back next turn with Bond of Revival. So it's 4 Infect. Yeah, so weirdly, I think they might have made Infect slightly... I don't know, it's different, right? It's swings and roundabouts because the new way to infect it deals damage and gives poison counters, but I don't know, I guess it's just different types of things. Okay, so I think we'll just try and kill the Atraxa here. Sweet. Got no defense again. And then the sword. Sword means we win the game if it gets in. 6 infect. They deserve it. Atraxa. Come on, guys. Like and subscribe. You know you want to. Okay, we go first. Starting hand is not fantastic. I'm going to mulligan this. Okay, so we've got the Black Blade Reforged. For some reason, guys, they keep giving us Bajuka Bog in an opening hand. And I don't know why. It's super strange here, to be honest. Something about this card is heavily weighted. So the algorithm gives you it a lot more common than other lands, which is super strange here. Well, if we start getting the Liliana and discarding, could be pretty good. They might have a way to counter. There's a couple blue spells that can just counter this here. Just offer you can't refuse, so on and so forth. Right, so now I think I'll discard the Sanguine Brushstroke. The reason this is in here is because against aggro decks and go wide decks, the Brushstroke creating a Blood Art it's just Blood Art is just such a good card. Okay, into the north, so they're ramping here. Although they did that in their own turn, which is slightly strange. Okay, we go for the Packed Weapon, and I think we're going to tick up again, guys, but we're going to just get rid of the Thoughtseize, because Liliana is basically a Thoughtseize on a stick, isn't it? Eventually, they're just not going to have anything left. And yeah, we have essentially the win con on the field, so... And in addition to that, next turn we can't go for Skithiryx and Thoughtseize anyway, so it kind of... It contradicts itself with the sequencing there. Also, I think I forget this every time, but in Liliana's reflection, she is looking at herself, but it's weird, isn't it? She's looking at us, but the reflection is looking at her. Kind of freaky. Yeah. So the opponent here is choosing what to discard, and could just be a roper. Are they roping us? If they are, then what can I do? I could do one of my famous reviews. Haven't done one of those in a while. So recently I've started watching the Watchmen TV show, which is an HBO show, and it has actually blown me away how good it is. I didn't expect it to be a slight spoiler. So the Watchmen series is actually technically a sequel to the film made years ago by Zack Snyder, which was an amazing superhero film. If you've not seen the original Watchmen, I would highly recommend it. It's probably what The Boys was based on quite a bit. I mean, the Watchmen comic goes back to this, I think it must go back to the 70s, maybe later, but yeah, because it's about the Vietnam War. But yeah, this is more contemporary, more present day, and it's really interesting. It goes places that you don't really think. It does have there is definitely a political agenda to it, but it's not so. It's a really important message. I don't really want to ruin it, but yeah, it's good. It's not as action-packed as you might think a superhero show should be, but I think it's good. It's superheroes for an older audience, and it's more cerebral, more thoughtful, and I think it's just a really good addition to like that whole range. Like if you haven't seen The Boys as well, The Boys is absolutely fantastic. So do you think they're going to counter Skithiryx? So yeah, Watchmen in England, I watch it on Now TV, but in America it's on HBO. So the opponent is just roping me again. Yeah, I think I'd be a good radio DJ because I can just fill the air with random fizz. But yeah, I don't know why the opponent's roping it. You know, you could just stop playing and make a cup of tea, make a cup of coffee, and enjoy your life rather than tormenting me and my audience. Though, saying that, maybe they have a vendetta against me, and finally, thank you for quitting. You know, I'm not here to be your vessel of enjoyment, so, you know, if I'm winning, I'm very sorry that I've upset you, but just don't rope, guys. Roping is not very nice. Okay, we go first against Atraxa. I might as well just call this video the Atraxa Special. That's all we seem to be facing. I think this is the third one now. And may this video be evidence against people who say they never face Atraxa. I'm using different decks every single video. And so that's probably about 3 or 4 videos a week. And yes, still face Atraxa every single time, guys. What do we got? Let's get rid of the Knight of Autumn. Now, annoyingly, they are going to have the Firemind Vessel in the following turn, which means they're going to be able to tap for Atraxa already. I guess we can go for Shieldred here. They can use the Jace to bounce it, but we've got the Murderous Rider. 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, go for the throw as well. Yeah, I guess they'd rather do that than... Yeah, that was strange. Probably should have gone for the Jace, just bounce it there, but fair enough.
I know what to do.
Jace ticking up every turn is going to be really strong, so we're going to have to get rid here.
That just happened?
Yeah, that Firemind Vessel has changed the course of the game greatly. +2 mana is so good for them, especially because they ramped into that one turn sooner as well. 4, 5, 6, 7. Joint Exploration. I do wonder if they're looking for a way to stop Skithiryx, because we technically have almost a one-hit kill here with Skithiryx and the Black Blade Reforged. 4 mana open. I wonder what they have. I mean, we can test the waters with the Murderous Rider. Or is it's not very exciting, is it? Let's go with the Skithiryx, see what happens here. Give it haste. And we beat the big Atraxa. 4 in fact. So, interesting. It's only 3 to equip Skithiryx. So, cross our fingers they don't have an answer here. If they have an answer, then we probably lose, because they'll have a lot of other cards as well. 2, 3. So, I need another black source to play the Murderous Rider. And of course, they had the black source there. They also have a Time Warp. Man, that was super lucky to get the exact answer. But there you go. Okay, so we'll start by Feed the Swarm. And I suppose we can go... So they've got a Time Warp. So I guess we're just going to flood the field. If they've got a board wipe, then so be it. But yeah, the old Murderous Rider coming in to save the day there. The Teferi with the Firemind Vessel is going to be insane, because it can tap 4 mana every single turn just by untapping it. And this is why this Atraxa is so cancerous, because all the resources I've put in to this field to, you know, get rid of their things, it's just not going to matter, because they've spent the same amount of resources, but only to get more resources back. It just basically doubles down on a resource. So yeah, there's no way we can win this now. It's very, very unlikely, especially because next turn they're going to go for the Atraxa. They're going to be able to refill their hands. They're going to get 4 mana alone just from the Firemind Vessel and the Teferi here. They're going to discard our Brass Knuckles Wincon, and pretty sure we're just dead. 5, 6. I mean, Skithiryx costs 9. They've got another Teferi. Yeah, we'll call it, guys. Yeah, you on it, Atraxa. Just pure shit. Okay, pretty decent starting hand. I really can't escape these Atraxas, can I? Whether it's Atraxa 1 or Atraxa 2, they will haunt me till the end of time. Until Wizards decides to put them in another bracket, we will face them for a very long time. I mean, this one, to be honest, it's strong, but it doesn't scare me half as much as the big one does, because this one doesn't actually give you any physical value by itself. It requires other pieces, and this is more of an interesting build around, which is forgivable, I'd say, especially with power creep. And the artwork on this is just absolutely fantastic. And to add to that, I recently actually pulled this in paper, a foil one, which is very exciting indeed. I never thought I'd get my hands on a Atraxa because they're just so expensive. But yes, it's nice to own a very famous character in Magic. and that's from a collector booster. But yes, the 7-mana Atraxa is just an absolute abomination to mankind because it's essentially Rusko in disguise. It draws them approximately 6 to 7 cards on average. I mean, it can draw them 10 if the deck is made in a very well made way. I do wonder if this particular match will have any gameplay at all, or will it just be commentary on the state of the game and Atraxa, but we shall see. I do often think that people come into this game and they... Oh my goodness, we can just go for the Grim Hireling here. No, I think we'll wait. I think that's a bit too soon. But yeah, I think a lot of players come into the game with money. And with that money, they will just craft a deck list that CGB or LVD has made, and then they'll just buy the deck. But doing that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be good at piloting the deck. There's two separate things there, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, I mean, there's lots of different ways to play, but I'll always advocate learning the game from the bottom up. It's more exciting to me. Yeah, we'll go for the Grim Hireling here. If this guy manages to hit, we get 2 treasures, and also with the sword, we get up to 2 extra lands as well. He's probably going to bite the bullet, to be honest. Okay, there's the Vraska, which makes me really wish I went for the Cruelty of... Oh, it's become a treasure. That's interesting, because now we can kill the Vraska with the Skithiryx. So if we go for 1, 2, 3, then we can go equip and give it haste. So that would protect it from green and red spells, which might be useful. We shall see. So we're going to go for... Do we want to go for Vraska? Yes, because they're going to -2. Okay, I mean, we could just straight up... I don't know, what kind of removal can this get hit by? Black and white and blue. It's not the best against this deck, but there's surprisingly a lot of green-based removal. You've got Binding of the Old Gods, Casualties of War. A lot of the plummet effects are in green. Atraxa comes down to play, but she cannot block. Wow. Wowzers, right. Just swing in, and there's not much they can do here. Apart from Fog in green. Ooh, Wand of Orcus and a Blood Artist. 3, 4, 5, 6. Do I actually care about these? Do I care about these? They're not going to help me. I think we go for the Cruelty of Gix. And let's see what's in their hand and get rid of a Planeswalker. So they had an Elspeth. And we can play the Relic Tower and the Blood Artist. Okay, so they can use the... Oh no! Why did it do that? Why the hell did it use the Phyrexian Tower? We have actually been completely stitched up here. Because it didn't tap this, it sacrificed our Skithiryx. Oh my goodness. That was a diabolical thing the game just did. Absolutely diabolical. So the Endless Detour can counter a spell, essentially. Okay. So we probably want to Duress, right? Which is kind of annoying, but... Oh, I'm not happy about this at all. So if we use the Duress here, they're going to have to use the Endless Detour. Okay, but then I think we're going to use the tower here. My god, I'm never going to let the auto-tapper decide again. That's so horrific. So horrific. Oh, I shudder. So, essentially, they need an answer for Skithiryx or they just die, right? So we'll have the 4 infect unblockable with the sword. So they need removal for the Skithiryx or removal for the sword. Okay, they're swinging in. I mean, it's got vigilance, so there's no downside there. Did they get an answer? Interesting. So we can get a Grim Hiling here. And I guess moment of truth. Trying to equip this Skithiryx. Well, I think we got really lucky there, guys. That Phyrexian Tower moment. Oh my goodness, I'm never going to live that down. I'm pretty sure that the auto tap is screwing me up. I'd have to rewatch the game to see. But yeah, if for some reason I didn't tap the Reliquary Tower, what the actual F? Hi guys, I just wanted to add an addendum to the end of this video because I know that the comments will be screaming with people going, Josh, it doesn't tap for black. Yes, I made a mistake. Yes, I realise this I actually do this quite often. Phyrexian Tower doesn't actually tap for black. And the Blood Artist required black mana, but I didn't actually have any. So the only way that the game would give it to me is if it would sack the Skithiryx. So the game forcibly used this to sack the Skithiryx. Sadly, there's no warning to say, are you sure you don't want to sacrifice your Wincon? But yes, I made a mistake, and this doesn't tap for black, which is relevant. You know, it actually happened to me previously in another video, I'm pretty sure. But yes, I do apologize for missing this. And it's accidents like this that will stick in my head, and hopefully next time I will remember. But yeah, that's it's just one of those weird things because in my head, if you look at a card like Reliquary Tower, it's colourless border because it only ever taps for colourless. But a card, we can look at Takenuma for the next example. It's black bordered because it can tap for black. So Phyrexian Tower confused me because it's black around the top, but it only taps for black under the prerequisite of sacking a creature. And because I'm a visual thinker, I didn't actually notice this. So yes, once again, apologies, and I have rectified myself. I didn't read the card properly, obviously, and yeah, hope you can forgive me, basically. Did you know that you can help my channel by watching another one of my videos? Go ahead, you know you want to.